Hi, how you doing and welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is a bit of a bonus video. We've got our ultimate free hit team going into game week 25, and unlike other chips like the bench boost and even the triple captain chip, which can be quite overrated in my opinion, the free hit chip does really have an impact in your team and can really boost your overall rank if used correctly at the right time in the season. So if you are thinking of free hitting this game week, hopefully this video will help you out. I know a lot of people are considering holding their free hit chip and using it later in the season for game weeks like game week 34, when there'll probably be a lot of double game weeks as a result of the FA Cup. But for me, I think around that time, a lot more things could be decided and a lot of good players could be at risk of rotation and rest. Let's say Man City are 10 points clear by game week 34. Haaland is very unlikely to play in both those games in a double game week when they'll still likely be in the Champions League or the FA Cup. So I think if you did want to use it to kickstart your season, maybe season's gone a bit flat, or maybe you can't get in, I think 5 or 6 double game week players. I think if you've got about 5 or 6 players who have a double, I'd maybe stay away from your free hit chip this game week. But if you are struggling to get those players in without taking a big hit in points, or kind of decimating your team for future game weeks with blanks coming up, I think using a free hit chip this game week is completely viable, and hopefully we've got a good team for you. So we're going to start off with Liverpool, and we're going to have a Liverpool triple up. The whole point of your using your free hit chip is because you want to get in as many double game weekers as possible. Alisson has the second most clean sheets this season, and he is someone who did miss the previous game week because of illness, but he should be back. If he's fit and healthy, he'll be starting in both games for Liverpool, and Liverpool don't have awful games from a defensive point of view. I've gone with the double up with Trent. Now, currently Trent might be injured. I think if that's the case near the deadline, just getting another Liverpool defender, you'll save yourself 2 million and maybe even be able to invest that elsewhere in your team for better players from an attacking point of view. Maybe you also just want to swap out Trent for a single game week player and use that extra money to upgrade to someone like Diaz from a Liverpool attacking point of view. So I've also gone with Jota. He's got 8 returns in his last 8. I think the thing with Jota is, I know a lot of people are umming and ahhing about whether Salah's going to be back for the Luton game. Jota can perform in limited minutes. I think if you are worried about rotation, he's a really good option for someone who can score in limited game time. I think there is a highly likely chance that he does start in both, but even if he doesn't, you've got a little safety net there knowing that when he comes on, he can contribute. Now, as well as the Liverpool double up, I've also gone with the Man City double up. I think Alvarez is a really good option. I know he's having a bit of a dry spell at the moment, but he is the only Man City player who has started every Premier League game this season. So even if he's not on the best form, I think if you've got a Man City player who is on the pitch and is an attacker, that's a pretty good option because he can still get amongst the goals at any point. Foden has 10 returns in his last 10. He's on form and at a great price, even cheaper than Jota is Phil Foden. I would absolutely get him in on a free hit team. I'd maybe even get him in anyway. And I think if you're not using your free hit chip this game week, I would really consider triple captaining Haaland. As we spoke about, he is someone who will start at this stage in the season. Maybe he won't start later on in the season. And the 2 home games for Man City are absolutely fantastic. Both those teams that they're playing are conceding goals. I think if you're getting triple Man City, I would absolutely go for 3 attacking options on a free hit. So even though we're trying to get in lots of double game week players, it is important to acknowledge that we're not going to get 11 double game week players, or it's very unlikely to do so, especially because there's not that many teams who have a double this game week, just a couple of really good ones. So it is important that you look at considering getting in some good single game week players to fit in around those double players. Gabriel, for me, is someone who fits the bill perfectly. He has 3 attacking returns in his last 4 games, and you might not be getting in a centre-back for his attacking returns. He's probably not going to keep that up all season, but Arsenal are looking really good at the moment, especially from set pieces, and Burnley are conceding a lot of goals. And Gabriel is someone who can absolutely maximise that sort of attacking threat from set pieces against Burnley. Now I've gone with the double Spurs here. I think it's important we attack the good fixtures for single game week players, and Wolves at home really does do that. I think Pedro Porro, he's got the second most assists for a defender this season, and Son is someone who, now he's back, he will be starting for Spurs. He actually has 18 attacking returns in his last 20 starts for Spurs this season. So I think, he is probably the best big hitter who has a single game week. I wouldn't really look at anyone else and say, there's someone that I should get in over Son from an attacking point of view. Now I'm rounding out the midfield with Garnacho. Now he's in there, because he's a cheap player, but he is someone who's performing quite consistently. He's got 5 returns in his last 6 games, and dare I say it, Man United are kind of looking like they're maybe going to get in a bit of form themselves. Now don't hold your breath with that, but you look at someone like Cole Palmer, who people are rushing to get in, and rightly so, because he is so cheap, he's such good value, and he has been doing it consistently. Well, Garnacho's even cheaper, and he's been doing it consistently as well, albeit over a smaller sample size. But for one game week, Luton away, I feel like you can afford to take the risk, and because he's so cheap, it does enable you to get in other big hitters who can help your team. So finishing the starting 11, I've gone with Ivan Toney. He's got 4 returns in his last 4 games, and he probably does have the toughest double game week in FPL history with Liverpool at home and Man City away. But over the course of his career, he's shown that he can score against anyone, and it is a little bit of an insurance policy as well, because if Liverpool do concede to Brentford, there's a chance that Ivan Toney's been involved in that goal. So although you've lost your Liverpool clean sheet, you can recuperate some of those points back through an Ivan Toney attacking return. Now the bench I've gone with is super cheap. It's probably the cheapest bench I could find. There are a couple of players in there who will play, like maybe Trusty will play, but other than that, for a free hit team, you don't need to get in a deep bench. You're not going to get in players who are at risk of rotation, especially for a double game week. Let's say Phil Foden, even if he doesn't play in one game, you'd like to think that he would start in the other or come off the bench in both. So you're not going to need your bench for this game week. Your team's going to go back to how it was before the free hit chip. So I think you can absolutely just go all in your starting 11, which is what we've done here. But let me know if you think I've missed anyone out. Let me know if you're triple captaining someone this game week, or whether you're using your free hit. And it'd be really interesting to know any of your thoughts and what your strategies are. Please do like and subscribe. The support has been awesome. Keep an eye out for our wildcard video. Link should be on the screen now. If you are considering wildcarding or just general transfer thoughts, go check that out. And also keep an eye out for our preview video for the next game week coming up in the next couple of days. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.